Hey everyone, this is Dean with DCA Crypto. Got some red in the market, blood in the streets, so want to go over some things in this video to let you know what I think is going to happen next in this cycle and where we could be headed here in the next month or two. I'd appreciate if you subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, and let's jump into it. All right, so I've covered some things on the videos last week where I said, we could be getting a correction. I talked about a few things in the market last week that kind of hinted towards a correction coming here. So I want to dive into that in this video and let you know if I think we're going to come down further than where we're at now, and just kind of go over that in general and what I think is going to happen from here. So let's jump into it. So this market here, we're currently at 2.4 trillion market cap. We were over 2.8, so we've had a pretty decent sized correction on the market cap. This says 8.2%. Now I don't know if this is that's within the last 24 hours, so that's a pretty big correction for the total market cap for just 24 hours. We'll go to the 7-day. So yeah, it did get up to almost 2.9 trillion and then down to we're at 2.44 now. So it's a pretty decent correction. Bitcoin, it did hit 75,000. Now we're down to 62 as of this recording. I'm recording this last night, and right now the coins are dipping right now. So they could be significantly lower than this by the time this video comes out. It is what it is. ETH is under 3,200 now. If we go to the Bitcoin chart, this is the daily chart. As you can see here, we're starting to come back down and lose this structure here and come back down. Now, will we come all the way down to this 59,000 mark here where we touched with this wick here? Is yet to be seen. Maybe by the time this video comes out, that could have happened. It's hard to say what's going to happen here. If I go to the 4-hour chart, this is kind of what it's looking like here, and these are the levels we're looking at, like 59,600, and this fib level here is basically showing 53,000. Some people are saying we could come all the way down to here. It's possible that that does happen because, when you get these big green candles like this and it's just pushing through nothing here, typically, we can come down to retest that. But typically when we push up like this, that's kind of those levels that we have a chance of retesting if we get a big correction. Now, if we measure this correction, what we've had so far, I'm going to pull out the measurement tool here and see from the top down to where we're at right now. That is about a 16% correction or so, between 16 and 17% correction as of this recording, so keep that in mind. Now, I would expect us, like I've told you before multiple times, that we should get, and this is very common and it's healthy for the market, we should get, between a 25 and 35% correction on Bitcoin. If we kind of go in between that and say we get a 30% correction, so 30% correction would get us down to about 51,500, somewhere in that range. So that's a possibility. 35% correction will get us down to just under 48,000. So those are possibilities on the table. Of these levels here. I'm thinking it's probably not going to get down all the way to 45,000, but that is definitely possible. If you look at the Bitcoin rainbow chart here, the last bear cycle, we got up to like 15,000, and then we came all the way down to, I think it was like 6,500. So like a 50% move is what it did in the last bear cycle. I won't count this COVID dip here because that was not a natural dip, but it did do a 50% correction after that, and we didn't even go up as high and hit a whole new all-time high. So we've been due for a correction. If you look at the chart here, we did get up in this green level. Like I said, we might get rejected around the halving time. We're starting to see that. Now, whether we're just taking a little bit of a cool off and we take off higher, that's a possibility. So we got to keep that on the table. We might just be having a fair correction, like 15%, and then we're going to move up to the next leg. And then maybe we'll get a big correction later on. It's really hard to say what's going to happen for sure. But, either way, I'm not too worried about this. if you're looking to dollar cost average into some of these coins that have had a 30% correction or so, there's quite a few of them out there. If there's one that you've been wanting to add to your portfolio, now's probably a good time to start dollar cost averaging into some of those. I haven't been buying a lot of coins with all of them pumping over the last several months because I figured a correction was going to be coming and I didn't want to be buying in the green and then having it correct on me. I've mostly been just buying ICO projects that haven't launched yet because the markets, you know, when they're bullish or bearish, don't affect the price of those ICOs because they're not even in the market yet. So typically they wait for favorable conditions to launch. So, you know, that's where I've been putting most of my funds, is in those ICOs. Now that we're getting starting to get a correction on some of these, it's a good time to start adding some probably to some of those that you've been wanting to have in your portfolio. But if you look at this, you know, this is a very small correction still. You know, look at, we went from here all the way down to here last bear cycle. We're just starting the dip. If we have a correction, you know, we could easily see Bitcoin get down into the 40-some thousand mark if we get that 35% correction. So it is possible that that happens. With the Bitcoin ETFs, it's hard to say whether that's going to happen or not. Now, the Fear and Greed Index is at a 79. I was telling you guys last week when we were up in the 90s that it's likely that we're probably going to get some kind of correction soon, because once we start getting up in the 90s in extreme greed, that's usually when it's time to look out and be careful and take some profits off the table. And sure enough, we've had a little bit of a correction, but we're still in extreme greed, so we could have a correction further from here. Hard to say when for sure that's going to happen, though, if it does happen. Now, the thing that I'm a little bit concerned about here, if we look at the Bitcoin monthly chart returns, this kind of shows you the averages for returns, which months on average are green, which months have been red in the history. If you look at this chart, we have, you know, we have situations here where we've had 4 green months. We had one situation here where we had 5 green months. Another one here where we had 5 green months. We had one here where we've had 6 green months. That was back in 2020 and 2021 in the last bull run. But if you look at this cycle, this year, 2023, we had 4 green months and we've had 3 green months so far. So if March ends up being a red month, that would be right on schedule with this, you know, with these ones that have had like a maximum of 6 green months in a row. That's the most we've had in a row. So I would say historically, 5 to 6 green months is the most that we've had in a row. So if we're having a 6 month right now, currently we're just barely in the green. So this could turn red within the next week or so here if we keep correcting, and bring us into a red month for March. And then maybe we get a couple red months like in April and May before we start taking off into some green months. And historically, if you look at the rainbow chart, you know, typically we get a correction. You know, like here we had a little bit of a correction in 2016 right before the halving, and we came down and we kind of went sideways for the majority of the year, and then in August we started taking off into the bull run. So we could get something like that similar here. We're starting getting a correction and we get down in the, you know, 50s and 60s with Bitcoin, possibly the high 40s, and then we maybe go sideways for a while, some red candles on the charts, and then we take off into this bull run. And if this happens, this is going to be really healthy for this bull run. So I'm actually, even though it's painful to see on my portfolio is down like 6 figures right now from what it was a few weeks ago. It's healthy, and I'm hoping that we get a little bit of a deeper correction so we keep healthy in the market. We just don't want to keep going up forever, and I know people don't like hearing that, but it's the truth. It's healthy to get a bigger correction, and then we take off and you know, accumulate and keep going from there. If we keep going up and up, it's very very dangerous if that keeps happening. So right now I'm liking what I'm seeing, and you know, I was hoping that we would wait till after the halving to get a correction. Maybe we still are. Maybe we're just taking a little breather and we're going to take off a little bit higher. before we get some kind of correction, but we'll just have to see what happens. But that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for this video, guys. My plan is to just dollar cost average into some good coins. If we keep getting red days and red candles in the market, it gives us more time to accumulate for when we take off into a main bull run. I don't think the bull run is over by any means. I think these corrections are healthy, and we'll have to see and play it by ear here as to what happens. But historically, we've got a lot of liquidity coming into the market over the next several months, and with the presidential election coming up, I think that all these things are going to be timed just right for us to scream into a big bull run into 2025. So hopefully that's the case. We'll keep our fingers crossed and try not to stare at your portfolio when it's red. Try to focus on getting your dollar cost average down and accumulating more during the red months, so when we take off into this bull run, that we can get more gains out of it. So I appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and we'll see you on the next video.
Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me what you want, what you need. Tell me, tell me, tell me. Tell me.